Namaste. Welcome. Happy Friday, beautiful souls. Today is a very special day, and I will explain to you what's going to happen today. So usually Friday is my tarot chat, random topics about the tarot, and today we're going to dive back into the Marielle Tarot. And this video is inspired by or requested by one of the members of this channel, IJ, who is also a client. And I want to thank her for this because there are many a time when I have done a tarot deep dive. And by the way, I just want to say something here. When I do a deep dive, I'm talking about 12, 13, 15, 20 videos on one deck. I find it quite entertaining when I'm scrolling through YouTube and I see a single video on a deck referred to as a deep dive. I don't understand how you can do a deep dive with a deck in one video or two. And I have done, actually that's not true. I probably didn't do justice to a couple of the decks that I started a deep dive with. But in general, my deep dives are very, very deep. And in the description box below, you can see some of the decks that I have wandered deeply into. And one of them is the Marielle Tarot. And so we're coming back to that today. And thank you to IJ. Welcome, Andrew. It's been a very, very long time. I have no idea where you've been, but welcome back. And hello to Saskia. Almost full moon shining on the sea. Beautiful. Saskia lives in Greece on Corfu. Is that correct? Welcome, Kalispara. Hello to Donna. Namaste. And to Dee. So we go from Greece to the US, Donna to the UK. Andrew's on the west coast of the US. Yes, it's going to be very transformative energy. Okay. Oh, and hello to Sharon. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, so I just, the thing about me is when I am going to get invested in a deck, I need to wander deep. And this comes in lots of different forms. So if you have followed me through any of my tarot deep dives, it usually begins, I mean, I have a few different strategies, and there is this powerful connection among majors and minors. And I like to look at that relationship. And right now I'm doing a deep dive into the Chemonette Tarot by Eden Gallagher. And I know that deck gets pronounced in a variety of ways. My preferred pronunciation is Chemonette. Yes, and just as a teaser, I made one of those videos public, one that it just felt like there was so much stuff coming through, and that was the video on the nines. So that is available if you want to see what I do in deep dive series. And what I'm sharing with you here today, for sure, is an example of what I might do. Now, why am I coming back to this? So in the process of diving deep into a deck, I sometimes have these aha moments where I will say something like, I should really do a video on all these wild cats in this deck, but never get back around to doing that. Or I also thought I should do a video on all the cards with the green eyes, because there's a lot of green eyes in the Marielle Tarot. And I think that would be a really cool video. However, if there are other deep dives where I said something to that effect, ooh, it'd be really neat to do a video looking at all the cards with, you fill in the blank, and I never did it, then please be sure to let me know, and I will make an additional video, which I will add to the playlist for that deep dive. Okay, so yeah. Please ask away. This is for you. So hi, I'm Sadhana, for those of you that don't know me, and obviously tarot reader, tarot teacher, a lover of all things energetic. Yeah, energy. Energy is really, really cool. And this medium, tarot, is a very powerful tool. So I hope that in looking at the cards today, you can kind of get a feeling for the level of passion I have with this medium. There are a lot of wildcats in the Marielle Tarot, and I encourage you to pull out your Marielle. There are wildcats in every suit, not just the suit of wands. There are wildcats in the major arcana. So we're going to be looking at, I don't know, about 10, 11 cards today. And the attempt is not to say what they mean in general, but to just look at their energy. And maybe we will come through with some obviously there's some common themes that are coming through in all of these cards because of the archetype of the lion and the archetype of the tiger, the medicine of the lion, the mythology of the lion and the tiger. And for sure, I will not have time to tap into everything. I can't fully do justice to all of these cards that are on the table, but I can certainly address them and begin to, it's just such a joy to come back and talk about these cards. And I sat with my coffee this morning going through them and just really, there's some client readings where I use this deck, and this is such a powerful deck. It really is kick-ass. It gets you, hi Joel, welcome. It gets you, it's one of those decks where I say it makes me want to be a better person. And this deck does not fit into any neat little boxes. It's very difficult to reconcile some of the ways that Marie White used astrology, mythology. The Hebrew letters follow a different path. In this deck, you should know that, for example, 2 is associated with the second Hebrew letter. The 2s are associated with the high priestess and the minor 2s. Everything is very aligned in this deck in that way. The place where people often go raise their eyebrows is in the element associations. So, for example, the element of the zodiacal sign of Scorpio. Scorpio, this is an issue. So Scorpio has multiple stages of development. The highest frequency of Scorpio being the eagle or the phoenix. And Scorpio, which in most tarot decks and most systems, astrological systems, is associated with the element of water. In the Marielle Tarot, it's air. And I'm not going to go into explaining why, but you need to go to the back of Landscapes of the Abyss, which is the guidebook for this deck, and Marie White explains it in great detail regarding her journey through the various the journey of astrology. So she goes back to yes, exactly. So she goes back to Sumer, and she adopts the astrology from Sumerian times, where the vernal equinox rose in Taurus. And so that is the first pinpoint that she uses. And so, yeah, so it's a little bit different. So Leo, for example, is the summer solstice. And in this particular card, which is the Ace of Wands, we're looking at Leo. And yes, so D says, what about Marie White's fascination with the priapic masculine energy in her deck? This is, yes, there are a lot of penises. There is a lot of references to the Ouroboros, to the phallus eating itself, all this kind of stuff. And I think that the more you study this deck and the more that you begin to absorb this energy, the more you realize that this is archetypal. And I'm going to try to address some of it today. I'm going to do my best. I am not an expert in this deck. I am a journeyer of this deck, and I'm sharing my experience with you. So, our first wildcat. Our first wildcat is in the Ace of Wands, and you can see here the face of the lion, or Marie White describes this as the courageous heart of the lion. This is the cherub of the Leo constellation in this deck. This is the summer solstice, this is the fire, and this is the soul. One of the things I do love is that she places fire very much in... You have had to have journeyed and done a lot of work with energy to understand that fire both lives as a flame in the heart chakra, as an essence of the soul. Sorry, and with my passion here today, I'm probably going to be shaking tables and everything, as well as the fire, the fuel that energizes the solar plexus chakra. So in that way, fire lives both at the heart and in the belly. And in the Ace of Fire, this wild cat, this lion energy, the heart of the lion is fueled by the wings of the hawk. And so here we have in the Ace this primordial masculine energy that is wanting to come alive. This is the potential, the pure potential of your strength here. I'm going to try to keep up with the chat as well. I have never done a comparison of these two decks, and so that's, oh my goodness, I can't even imagine comparing them, but perhaps, because I will, for those of you that aren't aware, 2024 is going to be a PIP deck. It's going to be a Marseille year. The Jonas Tarot is based on Jodorowsky's work, and so I very well may pull out the Jonas, and at that time, Andrew, I will remember this comment. Okay? Yeah. So this seed in the Ace of Fire is the seed of your inner strength. Yes, the paintings are gorgeous. So as the seed of your inner strength, the second card I chose to put on the table is the Strength card. And there is something both in the pearl ring and in the pearl necklace, the pearl mandala, that is, I think this is a beautiful metaphor here along with the energy of the lion. There's also something too about the hand. So lions, Leo is associated with the heart, with heart in general, heart health as well as heart energetically. And in this way, this hand is massaging the heart. When you look at the idea of heart through the chakra system, heart is connected to the hands, right? This is the karmanjriya of the hands and the skin as well too. So this is such a beautiful connection. And the idea with having the pearl here, the fact that this takes time to reveal. This is not something that is, and we have a couple of pearls in this deck as well too. We have a pearl in one of the cup cards. There's a few pearls in this deck, and so this is another symbol that I would watch out for to see how the deck creator uses this. Strength is found in doing. So let's think about the hands as action of the heart. Strength is found by moving through the heart, by moving of the heart. There's just something really tender and aware in this card. And the connection between the ace and the 11 is very beautiful as well too. And Marie does talk a lot about numerology in this deck. And for those of you that use numerology and know much more about numerology than I do, we're looking at a 1 and an 11. And she compares and contrasts these two cards, the Ace of Wands and the 11 of Strength. 11 being a higher frequency of 1, having more wisdom, having more knowledge, and doing something with that pure potential of the Ace. And so there's this beautiful correspondence between the potential life force energy that we see in the Ace of Wands and the how we choose to nourish and nurture it. Now the Lion as fire, the Lion as the pure potential, is also our prana. It's our life force. And this connection comes in a couple of places. So if you think of fire, Lion as life force, the life force is fueled by our breath. And it's the action of breathing that allows prana to move. I started a series last week, if you're interested, about breathing. I might come back to this next Tuesday, if you're interested. I think this is going to be a great series. Tuesdays, 11 a.m. Pacific. Prana and breath are often discussed synonymously. But it's the breath that moves the prana. So we need to breathe in order to fuel the energy in the various systems of the body. And so in this Ace of Wands card, the fire is fueled by the wings, fueled by the air, fueled by the hawk. Excuse me. Sorry. Big gulp. And then the energy is further fueled by the movement of the hands. So there's this, I don't know, this movement of energy in these cards that's really quite dynamic. Now 11 is not an easy number. If you have life, many of us in this group have life path, or we have 11s in various ways in our charts, in our numbers. And 11 is a card that comes through with, I feel like, tremendous responsibility. Yes, it is kind of an awoke number. It is very dialed in. So let's look at this. So 1 is crown chakra. 1 is Keter and the tree of life. And 11 it's an open frequency of that. And it can be quite burdensome actually to have that sort of openness. And this is why I think for those of you that work with, seeing numbers, 1111 on your clock or your dishwasher. I guess our dishwasher would never be 1111. I often see 222 on my dishwasher. But the number 1111, seeing 1111 or seeing 111, these are moments in time where if we slow down and take a moment, there's a possibility of a message coming through. So this is such beautiful energy. And then of course we have 11 as a 2 as well too. So we have these aspects of self. We have the soul, We have the physical body massaging the soul, the lion as a reflection of the soul. Yeah, it's just such a lovely, lovely card. Temperance follows death. And there's something quite clever that Marie White shares in this card, in that and perhaps what I read between the lines in this card isn't what you see. So these aha moments that I have with the Marielle Tarot might come through differently for you. Marie White describes the tiger as a blend of the divine masculine and the divine feminine coming together and emerging from death. Death being the water. But we also have this beautiful lineup in the major arcana. So 14 following 13, which is death. So we see this powerful integrated energy merging from death. So it's as if there's a message here in order to find and transcend gender. And Dee, I think this somehow, I know I won't say this right, but this incessant repetition of sexuality, particularly masculinity in this deck, is that the higher message here is that we are, if we can transcend gender and fully embrace our completeness, then we move a little further down the path to enlightenment. And all of the mythology that she refers to, sometimes some of it very repetitively, I believe points to this. Okay, I need to look at my notes because I don't want this to be a 3-hour broadcast. The tiger also is great life force energy. And as a what would he be? As a alchemical blending of the divine feminine and masculine, the tiger transcends mortality as well too. So there's I don't think I've quite wrapped my head around this, but there's something really powerful. Now we'll see a white tiger in the Knight of Discs as well too. And there's something about the tiger. The tiger in Temperance is orange and white, or black and white. The tiger in the Knight of Discs is white and black. But the tiger, the stripes of the tiger represent a union of sorts, a coming together of energy. And I will talk much more about the tiger in the Discs card in a moment. But it has a different frequency than the lion, even though it also represents fire and strength and power. The stripes carry a particular energy to them, which is a very cool concept, and something that I think each of us individually could benefit from spending some time with. There's a few wonderful articles about, there's one called, and these are quite lofty articles on the third gender. That's often one of the hashtags that goes with these articles. This goes back to a belief that at one time we were all androgynous. And that part of the fall was that we separated and we became masculine and feminine, and we moved away from God. And this journey back to God is one to marrying our masculinity and our femininity. So it's a lot. It goes beyond the scope of today's discussion. But I think there has been a lot of... we also need to understand that Landscapes of the Abyss is a little version of a much larger book that wasn't published. And Marie White, if you can ever self-publish the larger version of Landscapes of the Abyss, I know there are a lot of people that would pick it up. Okay. In the Temperance card, as a unification, so this is this the card where she says that this is... No, that's another thing. Okay, so let's go back to the chakra system. I'm going to go all over the place here. Tomorrow, by the way, is the second episode of Tarot Through the Chakras, for those of you that have missed this course. And if you've signed up and you haven't got the notification for the documents, it's because they haven't been uploaded yet. Sadhana is busy. In the chakra system, we have about 72,000 energy lines called nadis, N-A-D-I. And there are three principal ones. And the one main nadi runs, generally speaking, up through the central channel, through the spine. And there are two other main nadis that begin at the root chakra. One moves left, one goes right, and they travel from the root chakra, and they go out and they go back in through the sacral chakra. They cross and they go out and in through the solar plexus and out and in through the heart, and then they culminate at the third eye chakra. And these two lines of energy are another way of looking at some of the metaphors, mythology of the masculinity and femininity. We can also use this paradigm through which to dissect some of the things that Marie White is doing in this deck. Each time these opposites come together, we change a little. Each time these opposites merge, we morph, we transform a little. We grow, we expand, we release. And I feel that a lot that these cards have in common with each other is this element of fire and this element of transformation. Yeah. And D says, we had to stop being asexual to progress along our path, to learn to differentiate. And there is some amazing journeys and discussions about this. So yeah, I think this is a huge can of worms that Marie White enters into here. Another, the Temperance card. So the Temperance card is also referred to as the alchemical marriage. And this is this place where we transcend sexuality. You will see in a lot of decks, you have an androgynous figure in this card. And Marie, in her path in this deck, as I said, she aligns, like the 14th Hebrew letter is aligned with this card, which is Nun. Which in the Crowley system and the Golden Dawn system is aligned with death. So there's a different order to the Hebrew letters. She looks at this letter as Christ consciousness and sees this card as the potential of this tremendous, tremendous unfolding. Yeah. And I also, this is a fantastic, and I would say post-menopause. This is a place where so if you think of the diaphragm as the border between the third chakra, the Manipura chakra, and the fourth chakra, Anahat chakra. So when we transcend from solar plexus to heart, a lot of, and not just women, get stuck in an unprocessed solar plexus chakra. And so, yes, I totally see this, because if the water represents the heart, it's like the tiger is merging through and breaking through the heart. Now, the heart isn't the element of water, but it does. I get that analogy. I like that, Andrew. Thank you for that. Yeah. Okay. I hope this is of interest to some of you. I'm kind of fascinated with what's going on in this deck. So let's go to the knights. All of the knights in some way are connected to wildcats. And I'll try to build this story together for you here. All of the knights. So let's start with the dark knight. I think it's kind of cool how the eights as well too. There's a lot of wildcats in the eights, and so there's something with that number. And one thing that I have not personally reconciled is that if you go to the back of the book and you look at how she assigns the elements, and Marie goes fire, she goes, I'd be careful, I'm going to put my foot in my mouth. She goes wands and then swords. So in her order of suits, we have the two masculine elements, wands and swords, and then cups and discs, and then the two receptive suits, which is really interesting. And she associates the pages with fire. And yet none of the page cards have wildcats in them. Observation of mine. Okay, so the knights. The knights. We have one dark knight and 3 light knights. 1 dark and 3 light. And I've been thinking about this relationship here. Honestly, I just need to calm down. The black knight, the dark knight, absorbs the energy of the other knights, also seeks the light of the other knights. Originally, the dark knight, the Knight of Wands, was painted as a panther, a wildcat. But as this painting morphed, you know, when you're painting with acrylic, sometimes the painting gets wiped out and then you work on it a little bit. And so it's not really clear if this is a panther or a wolf or a man. The intention, so in a way, this card does not even fit into this discussion because it only was originally a black panther. I've always felt the tracking here, and there is a jaguar card, which we'll come to. There's a jaguar in the Queen of Wands, which is about tracking. But I just want to kind of see if I can bring this together. The knights. This particular knight has the power to transform. the power also to awaken the light. And there's some discussion about the lightning symbol. And I invite you also to look at the cards in this tarot that have lightning strikes. And think about what lightning does. When there is a lightning strike, what happens to the land? And I'm thinking about forests, and when there is a forest fire, and the way that how everything with the fire, everything breaks down and the new nutrients are revealed. There's this powerful transformation process with lightning. Though it can be devastating, it also is awakening. It also is purifying. And so there's this really interesting relationship with this black knight and these 3 white knights. His darkness is polar to their lightness. The Knight of Discs, we see a spirit tiger. And in the Knight of Cups, we see the lion. Now, this is referred to a couple of times in the tarot deck, and that is that, I hope I'm going to get this right, Archangel Ariel. Archangel Ariel is on one shoulder. Archangel Ariel, what other card? It's in the Knight of, yes, we're in the Knight of Cups. The armor on each sleeve contains a cherubim. Ariel is the Lion of God on the left, and Michael on the right is he who is like God. So there is a reference to the cherubim, sorry, not the archangel, the cherubim Ariel on this shoulder. And this is also referred to in a subtle way in some of the other cards, that lion equals God. Lion equals soul. Soul, our soul, therefore, is God. You know that kind of conversation. Lion, our soul, we are God. God is within. And these references among these wild cats points back to this again and again, as a quest almost to break us down enough so we can open up and to awaken. Mm-hmm. Oh, Sharon, this is such a great reference because this comes up in the Queen of Fire because she has a piece of obsidian at her third eye. So that's a perfect association. And yeah, so Andrew, so lightning, right, is part of the process of building a new foundation, creating and it's so hard to find a good adjective. I don't know if proper is the right one. Some people like the word right. Yeah, English is such an inadequate language, but yes, exactly. And then in the Knight of Swords, we have the Lion Sun mask. The Panther, the Dark Knight, searches for the light. The Lightning seeks the path of least resistance. So this Panther who is tracking the light doesn't care about what's in the way. This Knight of Wands encourages our transformation. The Knight of Wands wants us to choose the risky path, the challenging path for our greater good. Sometimes it's for our destruction, but in a way that also is for our highest and for our greater good. Thank you for that, Dee. In the Knight of Swords, the two swords. Oh, gosh, I just candle there, Sadhana. The knight himself is the middle pillar. So that lion mask is the lion transcending through wisdom. He rides upon an owl. He is in the air. He has that orange cape. It is a lion solar mask. Just let me read you one thing I put down here. Oh yes. Okay, so let's go back to swords and what they represent, and also notice the open mouth in the lion. And the open mouth in the lion is the place from which we speak words. And word logos, word, the word. This is also part of our transformation in finding that authenticity of voice, learning to speak the word, learning to transcend knowledge and engage in wisdom. The story of Siddhartha Gautama is recounted in the Knight of Discs. And I think Marie goes out on a limb offering some quite insightful interpretations of his journey. And what we're seeing here is the young version of Siddhartha astride the black and white tiger. The black and white tiger has his tail on the Bodhi tree as well as his paw in the water. So as I was saying, the black and white tiger represents a union of masculinity and femininity. So there's that union as well as the union of sort of ether as represented by the tree, Buddha's tree, and the water as well too. So there's all the pieces are being connected here. Now, what was his journey? His journey was to find out why man needed to suffer. And the answer was that man didn't need to suffer if one walked the middle path. And so we see here this young version of him astride the lion amongst all of the elements, in balance, in harmony, in peace. Yeah, and according to Genesis, it was the Word. The Word was first. What else do I want to say here? A lot. I find that conversation is so interesting because and I think there's compelling mythology to go in both directions. That what comes first, fire or the word? Yeah, what comes first? And I have always said I am open. I'm open to, I love learning new mythology. I love being, I don't know, I just find all these layers so gorgeous. Sorry. Thank you very much, Saskia. I appreciate the feedback. And Donna says, hopefully there are several more Fridays to come if you need to keep going with this. Yeah. I want to sort of complete these wildcat cards today. But I think these, sometimes we do a deep dive with a deck and we forget to go back and look at all the bits and the pieces. And the decks that I have been diving with there's so many layers and they're so complicated. I really believe that. And help me find words for this, please. So an artist is painting a deck. An artist is often channeling energy. And while the artist may have some intention for what is going on to the canvas, it's often beyond their control. And that's why we all can find different things in the canvas. That's why Marie White can come back 10 years later and say, well, I'm reading this a different way now because that's when I was nursing my twins, a mother of two babies. I was in a very different place than I am now in looking at my journey with these cards. This is a crazy, powerful card here. And I really love some of Marie's language here around this card. She's holding a jaguar cub. And the jaguar is what's the jaguar known as in Quechua? Oh my goodness, I should know. It's part of prayers and incantations. And anyway, and the archetype of the jaguar sometimes is named as other animals. Sometimes in North American mythology, the bear is used as well for tracking. This is the lessons of moving into the West, moving into death. This is one of the main spirit animals that a shaman possesses, sometimes wearing the skin and becoming the jaguar, helping you to track your darkness. Okay, so jaguar. The Queen of Wands is a master of the internal jungles. I love this. I've been talking a lot about landscape lately. So she is a master of the internal landscape, the internal jungle. I love that. The internal jungle of the mind, the internal jungle of the heart, the internal jungle of our unhealthy digestion. She is a master of the internal jungle. In contrast, the king is the master of the external fire. As an extension, she creates fire creation. She creates SIDHE fire creation. She creates the environment for us to navigate these challenges. So that you can grow from the jaguar cub to a mighty warrior, a spiritual warrior, walking your path to, it may not be enlightenment in this lifetime, but certainly to greater clarity and a higher frequency of your being. She is fierce, but she's also warm. And yeah, it's so interesting how, you know, I'm just looked at the comment about the devil. It just kind of, I'm not sure what I want to say. The Queen of Wands in many tarot decks looks like a very sexy, vivacious woman. In some of the older decks, she's sitting on her throne, also with her knees parted, fully clothed. But she has this very fiery nature. If I think about another deck that I did a deep dive, the Margarethe Petersen Tarot, as she described this queen, I'm thinking of Durga. Durga, who has a million tools to help us slay that internal jungle, to slay the ego. And I don't know, I think it's the deeper you go with this and the more I'm trying to find a way to weave in the devil comment and why she needs to look this way. It's about transcending our darkness. I think there's something there. Yeah. Queen of Wands, Jaguar. Tracking, transformation. The environment to grow through that. We have 5, 8, 9, 8 of Wands, 8 of Cups. Oh my goodness, we have a lot. We have a lot to go through here. Where are we at? 52 minutes. Okay. I might need to do a part 2. Oh, I'm not taking it as disparaging at all. I'm trying to weave it together because I think when a word comes out, there's a reason and we need to find a way. We need to find a way into that connection. This Queen of Wands is powerful and fiery, but I find she also has Empress energy too. Yeah, she's so strong. And the queens in this deck in general are very mighty, very mighty. Okay, so let's go to the 5 of Wands. The intention here is that the fire is charging through the forest. That's sort of what is being portrayed on this card. It's kind of like and there's a purity to this. This is a sort of, again, an unrealized potential. This is a freer version of our fire that follows its heart. I think we need to go back to that connection. Highly transformative, powerful energy. The portion, I can't go there today because I'm going to start talking about Krishna and Arjuna, and that's going to take us down another rabbit hole. Marie White says, this is the lion that lays with the lamb. This is the lion that lays with the lamb. And we have these cards here that all feel kind of similar in that way. And I suppose it's worth attempting to weave them together. I will come back and look at the 5, the 8, and the 9 of Wands. But because we have the lamb here, and we have you, us, as the little lamb, and the human in the Eight of Wands. This is the lion that lays with the lamb. This is that pure potential of our greatness that knows its full range of, that knows its godliness, that knows its completeness, that knows its greatness. This particular card is the one that Marie describes as Keter in Malkut. So this is the union of the crown with the root. This is where God appears to man, where the king becomes the kingdom, where the people are fully realized. And here we see the lamb sitting on the Ark of the Covenant, and these two here also have a reference and a connection to the what do you want to call them, the epaulettes, or the lions that are on the shoulders of the King of Cups. And I was thinking about this card in terms of portal energy. And in order to see through, to pierce through the light, there's this coming together of our greatness, all qualities of our greatness, our darkness and our lightness, and everything in between. And it's only when we embrace all of that that we can find peace and to walk through. The Eight of Discs is Keter in Malkut. The Eight of Discs is the crown in the root. It's the coming together of all of this. This is the spiritual chariot. This is the chariot of Ezekiel. This is a card of transcendence, or the potential for it anyway. And then there's so many references in the Eight of Discs card. Marie White refers to the riddle of the sphinxes and what is required to transcend that. References to Oedipus's journey. You can also find similar stories in other mythologies. This is about walking through the eye of the needle and what is required for that. Tremendous focus, no distraction. And you know what? In a million years, I never thought I would be able to tie this to the Eight of Discs in the Waite-Smith card. But there's something here. Okay, this was not my intention today. But when I look at, and if those of you that are doing the hashtag drop M78 and have been journeying through the discs, I'm sure you've read a lot of people's reflections on these cards lately. In the Virgo cards, 8, 9, and 10 of discs. And with Virgo in general. Not that Marie White associates this here, but I'm just having this aha moment and finding these connections. There's something about detail that is highly significant. Focusing on detail allows us to slow down. It allows us to perhaps put the blinders on a little bit and conserve energy. And by conserving energy, the focus of energy, we're able to move through things more expeditiously, with greater success. I don't know if I'm hitting anything for any of you, but I'm just having a little aha moment here. And there's something about all of these cards that are on the table here, these three, that fits so beautifully together. In the Eight of Wands, and you might want to think, well, why all this powerful energy in the eights? What is it about the number 8? I'm waiting for Donna's continued. And I think it's on, how the worker yeah, that's really beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Donna. And isn't this about the lack of distraction, the discipline to have the focus, allows us to get closer to our great work, our life's purpose, our divinity. And we're seeing a lot of divine energy in these cards. In the Eight of Wands, Archangel Metatron carries you. The lion as the angel, the lion as the first arcanum, the cloak of, you know what it looks like in this deck, right? There's a sort of a hooded figure. And so this is like the cloak opening up. An Archangel Metatron carrying you. But where she goes with this card is that it's not so much Archangel Metatron carrying you, but you learning how to carry yourself. Archangel Metatron carries you home. You have become God and are carrying yourself. The greatness of each individual is in embracing the whole self and awakening. So there's so much similarity with these cards. And so as these cards arise in a reading, let them point to your potential. Let them point to your greatness. Let them point to what is awakening within you. And I think that, well, let's go to the Hercules card. Sometimes we go through horrific experiences. Horrific. And the myth of Hercules is told in quite a few variations, but here we see the young Hercules, a young version of Hercules wearing the Nemean lion. This card is equated to the Strength card in many decks. And this is about understanding the power of our strength, understanding the purpose of our strength, understanding the greatness of our strength. Thank you all for these beautiful comments. It's about being brave enough to walk your path and to follow through in authenticity what it is that you need to do. And part of this is due to open-heartedness. So in all of these cards, I think we need to understand that heart equals our soul equals our God potential. And so the more we can open our heart and embrace our fullness and our completeness, the more, eventually, the easier life is going to be. I think I can wind this up all together here. I think this is the only other card I haven't spoken to. This is the Nine of Wands. Again, another tiger, ferocious tiger. This is the card of the hero. I mean, all of these cards are so very well connected. Now, if you look in tarot in the landscapes of the abyss, where's Eight of Discs? Where's Eight of Discs? It's so interesting. Eight of Discs is followed by Nine of Wands in the guidebook. And there is this beautiful syncing of these two cards together. The Nine of Wands is the fearlessness of Shiva. Shiva is the destroyer. But as we were talking earlier about the lightning, it also is the creator. Yes, we can break apart the Trimurti into Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, but in essence, it is all one, and ultimately our destruction is our resurrection. So here in the Nine of Wands, we are channeling our inner fire. I suppose in a way, this is some sort of a combination I'm seeing in my mind a seven, like I'm thinking Waite-Smith, a Seven of Wands and a Nine of Wands. And maybe it's some sort of a combination of a 7, 8, 9 of Wands. It's that channeling that inner hero. I've got this. I'm committed to my path. I'm going to do this. It doesn't matter what other people think. I know this is for my journey. This is for my greater good. It's going to be a betterment to the world. And hear me roar. Hear me roar. Marie White says, be fearless in your authenticity. Be fierce in who you are. Breathe fire with every word. Charisma be your thunder. All right, I'm going to leave you with that. Charisma be your thunder. Thank you, IJ, for this prompt. I don't know if I did justice to what I was attempting here today, but if nothing else, let this inspire a revisiting of this deck or contemplation of some of these concepts. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see many of you again on Tuesday. Take good care, and thank you all so much for your contribution to the chat today. Namaste. Blessings through the portal. This is only part 1, right? I will need direction for part 2, so I'm awaiting your comments below. Have a lovely weekend. Bye for now.